It could have been an algorithm, but anyway, it shut me down right when I was talking about the vaccination. So anyway, yeah, that that wisdom that we knew that we not to trust the enemy, we were defended in that situation. None of the members of GMS were ended up with blood clots or stroke or died from that serpent juice. There's an example of wisdom defending us. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Consider the work of the Most High, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Right. If the Most High made something crooked, ain't nothing you can do. You can be the best prophet in the world, right? If there's such a thing. I mean, we know Yahweh Shai was the top prophet, but you could be anybody. If Yahweh didn't give you this truth, didn't give you this understanding, then guess what? You're going to stay crooked. It's all preordained. Verse 14, in the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider the Most High hath set one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. Right, so when everything is going good, everything is peachy, right? That's why we remain steadfast, non-wavering, right? We don't sit here and get all excited just because we get something good happens to us. By the same token, when something bad happens to us, we know that we have to endure. We keep calm in our spirit. We don't become depressed because we know this is the working of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We know that everything is of Yahweh. He controls our steps. Everything that happens to us, it's you have to consider what it is. You say, hey, something happens, no matter good or bad, you say, well, guess what? Yahweh orchestrated that. And stay in your spirit, stay calm. You don't want to go too far to the right or too far to the left. Right? You know what it is, so that's what's comforting about it. Verse 15. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in wickedness. All right? And we've seen that. We've seen, brothers in the truth perish. And then we've seen, people like the Illuminati living up to be over 100 years old. Well into their elder years, right? And that's what this is an example of. Verse 16, be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldst thou destroy thyself? Right. Everything comes with balance in this truth. In this thing of ours. Everything is balanced out. You can't be, you can't be like the elders. They've seen brothers come into the camps. They're on fire like brothers. They've seen that brothers come in and just be super fervent. And then they burn out because they don't apply verse 17 here. Verse 16 and 17. They burn themselves out because they overdo it, which at the end of the day, a brother who falls out was never in the truth, right? Like our elders always say. But at the end of the day, it's important to keep balance. We are on fire for this truth, and sometimes we do. We're fervent, with this truth. We're hot for this truth. And sometimes we do maybe lean too far to the right because we can't contain ourselves when it comes to this knowledge and this truth. But it's always good to balance it out, Like I'll give you an example. I'll be doing DoorDash, right? And I try to balance it out, and really through the spirit, it is balance. But I'll be Kahala Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. 4:41 is the time. But anyway, I'll be doing the DoorDash, and I'll have I'll have the videos on. Whether the brothers or whether it's my own videos or the elders' videos. And then at some point, you out there working. You might switch it over to put some music on, listen to some music, right? Or put a movie on or whatever, a documentary, whatever it is, right? But, the ones who are, the most stable and the most, I'm going to say maybe experienced in this truth are the ones who know how to balance this thing out. right? You can see the elders. Our elders are good examples. They balance this out. I mean, you know, we don't know their private lives, but I mean, you could just see that the elder apostles, when they teach, they'll even go and they'll start joking with things. They'll keep it light on certain points, and then they'll be solemn, right? When they teach, and it's all about their experience and about balance. They've mastered, being able to balance the ministry with our everyday lives. But we know, even when we're not doing the videos, even when we're not at camp, we know how our minds are constantly, consumed with this truth. So that's why the balance is important. Where we at? Verse 18. It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this, yeah. Also from this withdraw not thine hand, for he that feareth the Most High shall come forth of them all. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Right. Because the true wisdom at the end of the day, hey, the Lord's going to lift up that standard. And, let's get that real quick. Isaiah, like when the flood comes in, right? When Esau's UN troops flood the streets, flood, our houses. When the enemy comes in like a flood, Yahweh Bashem Yashai is going to lift up the standard, right? Isaiah 59:19. So they shall fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. See? So this spirit that Yahweh is going to give to his wise men, to his holy souls, this is going to be more valuable than having 10 men defending you, right? 10 soldiers. Just like we read here in Ecclesiastes 7 and 20. What am I at? Oh, 19. So verse 20. For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. And we know that. I spoke on that my last lesson, I think. It would be foolish to say that we're not sinners, right? When it comes down to it, thoughts are sins, the scripture speaks on our righteousness being as filthy rags. So even in our righteousness, we're still filthy rags, Let's get that. I might as well, because that's a good verse. Let's see. Isaiah 64:6, it says, but we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags. And we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind have taken us away. Right. So, we do the best we can, That's why we do the lessons every day, man. The lessons alone, what we do in reading the scripture, this is what converts our soul. This is what keeps us in that perfect medium, right? In that balance. Ecclesiastes 7 and 21 says, for there is not also take no heed unto all the words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. Right. Really, you keep yourself, keep your circle small, and you won't have to deal with all this. But, you start to try and be in everyone's business and everybody's matters, and eventually you're going to get, someone's going to be talking some shit, or you're going to hear something that you ain't going to like, right? Verse 22, for oftentimes also thine own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise hast cursed others, right? And yeah, we sit here, and especially now being in this knowledge, being in this truth, if somebody really pisses us off, we be throwing curses on them, 23, all this have I proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. So now, if King Solomon, who was the wisest man on the earth, and he says that wisdom was far from him, how much more for how much more for us? Because as we know through the Spirit and through the reincarnation, the regeneration, King Solomon was Yahweh Shai. That was the same Spirit, the same soul. So these scriptures are humbling, man. You read them, you start to realize that, man, we ain't nothing. We ain't shit. That's why, what does Yahweh call us? Let's get it real quick. Let me get it real quick. Salakia. Isaiah 41:14, it says, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel." You see, we ain't shit, man, without Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We're a worm. I always think of, whenever I read this verse, I always think of one day, my daughter, she must have been 7 years old, right? 6 or 7 years old. And she was out in the driveway playing with a worm. And I remember seeing her throw the worm across the driveway. Then she'd run over, grab the worm, throw it on the other side of the driveway. Just was tossing it to and fro, right? Until eventually she ripped the worm in half, right? And this is a daughter I'm talking about. So not even a son, So just think of how the vulnerability of a worm, And so every time I read this verse, I think about that day. But all we are is a worm. Our righteousness is of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's nothing of us. We need Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in these troubles, the Jacob's trouble that we're about to enter, right? Ecclesiastes 7:24, it says, "That which is far and exceeding deep, who can find it out?" Talking about wisdom, right? Verse 25, "I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of the foolishness of madness." And that's what we do in this truth, with this ministry. We're applying our brain, we're applying our mind to understand and know wisdom. You see, we're applying our heart, we're applying our mind to this truth. We're being diligent. We don't just sit back and let the wind blow, right? Blow us wherever we go. No, we buckle down. We do all the lessons daily. We go to camps. That's what's applying your heart is comparable to. Verse 26, "And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleases the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her." Right, and honestly, I think a lot of brothers in this ministry have been in this situation, a woman, dealing with a wicked woman. And you might even have love for that wicked woman. And guess what? Some of those men that were dealing with those wicked women, they fell out the truth. But some men who have dealt with wicked women, it says, "The one who pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her." They've escaped from that wicked woman, right? And this is King Solomon, who had 1,000 women he dealt with, right? So if anybody's going to speak on this subject of women, the best person to listen to is King Solomon, right? So he knows that the Most High, the one who pleases the Most High, can escape from that type of woman. But the sinner, hey, she gonna pull you out the truth. Verse 27, "Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account. Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found." Meaning, dealing with this knowledge and this truth. Our elders have said repeatedly, multiple times, like, you know what, just you don't even need to share the truth with your woman. If she asks a question, yeah, you can answer her questions, but brothers who are in the spirit of, you want to teach your woman, you want to sit down and have lessons with her and this and that. And I think a lot of us have been guilty of that, because I've actually been guilty of that, right? Only to realize that, hey, it's really the truth and the doctrine is really not for them right now, right? In the kingdom, hey, they're going to get it. They're going to be in the right spirit. But really, in Babylon, it's hard for these women to really receive this knowledge and this truth. All right. And really, learn it by experience if you want to learn it the hard way. If you want to learn it from men who already have experienced it, then you listen to the teachers, right? And that goes for me too. Because even though I heard the teachers, the prophets, the elders, the apostles say, hey, don't give your woman too much of this. I was I was stubborn, and I basically, in some ways, I learned the hard way. You see, but now, with experience, I'm dealing with another woman, and I don't really, I handle it different. We get better in this knowledge and this truth through experience. I don't sit there and, she doesn't have my channel, she doesn't have the camp channel, which I made that mistake in the past, and only to find that, yes, you're gonna get vexed, because like Solomon says right here, he has found one man in 1,000, meaning you could find one man of the elect, but it's hard to find an elect woman right now, especially even the elect women right now are still, I believe, not majority of the elect women